Hello, my name is JJ. Welcome to Mountain Bike Action. Today, we've tested a downhill bike for your viewing pleasure. Propain bikes out of Germany have been making various versions of the Rage DH for 15 years, and we got our hands on the most recent one, the Rage CF. At this point, the Rage is a carbon frame with no aluminum options. This features a straight 1.5-inch head tube which allows reach or angle adjust headset cups, a flip chip in the rear linkage to allow for a mixed wheel setup, and 15 millimeters of rear dropout adjustment to lengthen or shorten the wheelbase at will. In full 29-inch mode, our size large Rage has a head angle of 63 degrees, a reach of 465 millimeters, and a rear chainstay length of 445 millimeters in the short mode. All these numbers are subject to change due to the endless variations in which you can set up this bike. Longer for the racer or shorter for the jibber, or maybe you're an in-betweener. It's really up to you. A full SRAM lineup was used on our Rage test build, including Code RSC brakes with 200mm rotors and a 7-speed X01 DH drivetrain with 165mm carbon cranks. 6-pack components were used for the handlebars, stem, grips, saddle, and seat post, and the Newman Evolution EH30 wheels were wrapped in Schwalbe rubber for supreme traction. This build is a mishmash of the mid-level performance build and the high-end pro build, which will soon be available in the US. Propain continues with their award-winning Pro 10 suspension to achieve a supple system with plenty of ramp control. The difference from this model to the last is shock placement. They've moved the shock from behind the seat tube to in front of it. They're saying this allows for a better weight distribution and a more balanced ride. This system offers 215 millimeters of travel with the help of a RockShox Super Deluxe Coil Ultimate, with plenty of shock adjustment to aid in tunability. A 200mm travel RockShox Boxer Ultimate leads the charge. A majority of our testing took place at Snow Summit Bike Park, where there is an abundance of flow trails of all speeds. This is where we were most impressed with the Rage CF. We're used to DH bikes feeling sluggish on flow trails, where pumping is the #1 means of keeping speed. With the Rage, it was quite the opposite. It came alive when pushing into the bike with enough support that our efforts didn't go wasted even on the most mellow of flow trails, like Blue Steel. When jumping, a similar sensation was felt. This thing pops very well. It was nothing for us to reach record heights on jumps we'd normally just cruise through. Not to mention the playful nature of the bike. We enjoyed whipping out the rear end, jumping into a manual, or folding into a table off any jump that offered enough airtime. Large jump or small, this thing begged to be in the air, and we were only too happy to oblige. Tech stuff was a little more confusing on the Rage. The full bulldozing nature of most DH bikes was there, but not as willingly as some rigs we've ridden, like the Specialized Demo. It's almost skittery in nature when hitting a rock garden at speed. We found this was eased when lengthening the back end of the bike, but it's still not as stable as we'd expect. Does that mean it wasn't capable of blasting a rock garden at full speed? No, not once we got used to it. If anything, this proved that setup is key with this bike. You need to make sure to set it up for your specific needs, but just keep in mind that it still may take a little more determination to get through a rough section quickly. All that said, it was nice to have that 215 millimeters of rear travel when fully committing into a rock garden. Let's get into cornering, which is one thing that the Rage excels at. All through the testing of this bike, corners flew by with little consideration of what may have been too fast. Berms were no contest, and even the tightest of them were blasted through with full confidence. The maneuverability we mentioned in the flow section came into full effect when cornering, and worked in tandem with the excellent grip offered by the rear suspension. Pushing through the bike became second nature and allowed us to focus more on what was ahead, which is always a great feeling when riding at the speeds a DH bike allows. We fully enjoyed the way the Rage rode. It's a great all-around bike park bike and lends itself well if you're more into jumping and then putting together a race run at DH Nationals. The tunability is a high point in the Rage's construction, so it's safe to say you could make it into an insane race bike if you really wanted to. We're not going to speak too much about that since we mainly kept it in the short mode for the sheer joy it brought when riding. If you like having fun, the Rage is a great bike and will be the source of endless happiness on any park day. Well, that's all we've got to say about that. We hope you enjoyed this review enough to hit the like and subscribe buttons. For the full written review of the Rage CF, subscribe to our magazine linked in the description below. If you've got anything to say about this video or have suggestions for what we should review next, leave your thoughts in the comments below. And until then, we'll see you next time.